Welcome back to the Gemara in Gittin Daf Lamed Hey Amud Aleph. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, Ravu Shmuel da Amri Travaihu, Lo Shanu Ela Bebeitin, Aval Chutz Lebeitin Mashbi'inota. Rav Yehuda reports in the name of Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba that Rav and Shmuel both said, this was taught only in Beit Din, but outside the Beit Din, they would make her swear. In other words, the this that was taught only in Beit Din is the idea of not making a woman swear in order to collect the ketubah. That part of the Mishnah, when it says that they wouldn't be mashbiah her, that means that they taught that only in Beit Din. But if it was outside the Beit Din, they would make her swear. They were willing to go through that process outside of Beit Din, and that way she could collect her ketubah, and you can see Rashi there for more details. So I'm going to say that all of this is a statement. Ini? Question mark, exclamation point. Veharav lo magbek ketubah la'amralata. Is this really true? But isn't it the case that Rav wouldn't collect a ketubah for a widow? This is a challenge because we just said that Rav thinks that Rav and Shmuel both think that you could let her swear outside of Beit Din and thereby collect the ketubah. But apparently we know from elsewhere that Rav would not collect the ketubah for a widow. Kasha. This is in fact a problem. We have conflicting reports about what Rav actually thought. I'll put this as a conclusion, let's say. Do it that way. Besura matnu haki. In Surah, they taught it this way, meaning the way that we just learned. That's the version of the conversation that they knew about in Surah. Benaharda matnu haki. But in Naharda, they had a different version of the conversation, and it goes like this. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, Lo shanu el beveitin, aval chutz lebeitin mashbi'inota. This was taught only in a Beit Din, but outside of the Beit Din, you could make her swear. In other words, the statement that above we said belonged to both Rav and Shmuel, that you can make the widow swear outside of Beit Din so she can collect her ketubah, that actually, according to the rabbis in Naharda, that was just Shmuel who said that. Actually, I think I'll put this as a statement, and this you could say is an explanation or introduces an alternative explanation. The Rav Amar, afilu chutz Beit Din, nami ein mashbi'inota. And again, according to the rabbis in Naharda, Rav said that even outside of Beit Din, we still don't allow her to take a shvuah. So according to this version, Rav and Shmuel do not agree. Shmuel thinks that you could make her swear outside of Beit Din, even before the takana, and Rav thinks that no, before the takana, you couldn't make her swear, not inside Beit Din, not outside Beit Din. Rav latame. Rav is consistent with his own reasoning. De Rav lo magbek ketubah la'armalata. Because we know that Rav did not collect a ketubah for a widow. And I'm going to put this as an explanation. So the Naharda version of the statements of Rav and Shmuel works better with the other stuff that we know about Rav. V'liyadra v'ligbe. But let her take a vow and collect. Why not just have her do a neder and not a shvuah and collect that way? This is a challenge, right? Why was Rav having trouble getting a ketubah payment for a widow? He had this takana option. He could just have her take a neder. B'shene de Rav kile nadre. In the years of Rav, during the time of Rav, they were lenient with nedarim. This is an answer. It explains why Rav wasn't comfortable with the solution of having the woman take a neder instead of a shvuah. And if you look at Rashi explains, Kili nadre, hayu nedarim be'enehem la'avor alehem, hilkach lo samchinan anadra ligbuye. The nedarim were very lenient or light in their eyes. They weren't super concerned. Like if they just made a vow, they wouldn't hesitate to transgress it, to break the vow. And therefore, Hilkach, we don't rely on a neder to collect it. Meaning, Rav felt that, okay, it's very nice that Rabban Gamliel had this idea about taking a neder instead of a shvuah, but it's not going to work for us because people don't take nedarim seriously enough and they might actually lie. Now we're moving on to some stories. Hahi da'ate lakame de Rav Huna. There was a woman who came before Rav Huna. Amar la, he said to her, Ma'avid lech, what can I do for you? De Rav lo magbik tu belarmalata, because Rav does not allow for the collection of a ketubah for a widow. In other words, this woman who came to him must have been a widow who was trying to collect her ketubah from the orphans, and he said to her, "What can I do for you?" This basically saying, "There's nothing I can do for you." Rav doesn't allow for a mechanism of collecting the ketubah money. Amrole, she said back to him, "Midi hutama ela dilma nakitna mide miktubati." Isn't the reason, Tama's reason, mide is a thing or something? So isn't the reason something like, or isn't the substance of the reason, perhaps I took, nakina is to take, perhaps I took something from my ketubah? Isn't that what you're worried about? Aren't you worried that I already took some of the money? Chai Hashem tzvakot im neheneti miktubati. Basically she makes a shvuah. By God's life, if I actually, if I took from my ketubah. So she sort of jumps in and, miktubati klum. Right, if I took anything from my ketubah, she jumps in and makes the shvuah. Amar Rav Huna, Mode Rav bekofetzet. Rav Huna says, Rav admits, Modeh is to admit or to acknowledge. Rav acknowledges with a kofetzet, with literally a woman who jumps. In other words, Rav Huna thinks even Rav, who wouldn't allow a woman to swear, if she came to him and said, "Can I take a shvuah in Beit Din?" he would say no. And if she said, "Can I take a shvuah outside of Beit Din?" he would say no. And if she would say, "Can I take a neder?" he would say, "It won't help." But even Rav would agree that a woman who jumps in and swears without asking permission, she can collect her ketubah. So presumably in this story, Rav Huna allowed her to collect her ketubah money. I am going to put this all in a story color. That's the story color. Here's another story. Hahi da'ate lakame de Rabba bar Rav Huna. A woman, again presumably a widow, came to Rabba bar Rav Huna. Amar la, he said to her, Ma'avid lech de Rav lo magbik ketubah larmalata. He said, "What can I do for you? There's nothing I can do for you because Rav doesn't collect a ketubah for a widow." Ve'abamari lo magbik ketubah larmalata. And my father, my teacher, remember he's Rav Huna's son, Rav Huna's in the previous story, my father, my teacher, also doesn't collect a ketubah for a widow. Amrale, she said to him, Havli mizoni, give me my food, pay for my eating, basically give me money, right? If you're not going to give me my ketubah, then you have to at least provide for me to have enough money to eat. Amar la, mizone nami leitlech. He says to her, no, you also don't get money for mizonot. You also don't get money for food. To Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, because Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, Hatovat ktubata bebeit din, ein la mizonot. Once a woman comes to claim her ketubah in Beit Din, tovat is to claim or demand. So once she comes to claim her ketubah in Beit Din, she has no right to sustenance anymore. She doesn't get money for food, because a woman who's married does get money for food. But as soon as she is demanding her ketubah, she no longer has that status of a married woman who gets fed. Amrale, she said to him, Afchuha la korse. Let your chair be turned over. Let your seat be turned over. Kibei tre avdali. You did to me like two people. Meaning, you ruled like two different people. You brought in a ruling of Rav and also Rav Huna, and you also brought in this ruling of Shmuel and about the mizonot, and taken as a package, that really messes up my life. I have no way to claim my ketubah and no way to get mizonot. And so, Afchul, of course, they let your chair be turned over. It seems like she's cursing him that his leadership should be taken away from him. Hafchu halakorse v'tirtzuha. So he himself, hearing this curse that she gives him, Rabba Bar Huna then he himself turns over his chair and then stands it up again, sort of hoping to make the curse literal and take it out on the chair. Ve'afil hachi lo ifrak mechosha. And even so, he wasn't able to separate himself or to leave the weakness, meaning the curse still came upon him in some form. You can see Rashi for more information on that. Amar le Rav Yehuda le Rav Yirmiyah Bira. Rav Yehuda said to Rav Yirmiyah Bira, Adra bebeitin, ve'ashba chutz lebeitin, ve'leiti kala, ve'lipol be'udnei. Debe'ina, ki hechida avid b'masa. So Rabbi Yehuda says to Rabbi Yirmiyah Bira, this is sort of a separate story, a postscript to the previous two stories. He says, Adra beitin, let her take a neder in beitin, ve'ashba chutz lebeitin, and let her take a shvuah outside of beitin. V'leite kala v'lipol be'udne, and let the voice, right? Remember kala? Let the voice come and fall into my ear. In other words, let me hear about it. I want to know that you did this. Debe'ina, because I want this. Ki hechi da'avid b'maseh, because I want to do an action. In other words, I want to be able to allow a widow to collect payment of her k'tuba. And it's important to know in this context that Rav Yehuda is a student of Shmuel's. And Shmuel, and so Rav Yehuda says to Rav Yirmiyah Bira, I want to kind of push aside all of these rulings of Rav's and uphold that which Shmuel said, which would allow for a woman to collect her k'tuba. I'm going to say that this is a statement, and all of this also is yet another story. So two stories about the difficulties of collecting from students of Rav and students of Rav. And then this little additional, you can consider it a story, or I have it a statement, about a student of Shmuel's about wanting to allow a widow to collect. Okay, we'll stop here.